Is that what you want to hear? Really? We're gonna try to cram 25 years of lessons into 1 hour.
Yeah, and teach you to sing.
Right. Coming through. All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to do a bit of a Q and EH. A bit of a Q&A. So, I don't know what we're talking about, Randy. So, I talked to some people that had individual questions. I know we played in the last 2 classes, so today we're just going to do like a rapid fire Q&A and be able to get to your questions. So yeah, start to percolate questions, but we'll go over some that I had already. So, to start off, let's say, yeah, actually, since we're getting ready for the day, someone was curious of like the stretching warm-up routine, getting in the zone before performing, recording. So I will show you guys. To start, a really good exercise is put your thumb on your leg and have your kind of hand like pivot like a door or something, and then pivot your hands towards you, and with your other hand, pull it kind of back. So you're getting 2 stretches in one with this. Kind of your thumb, also your fingers, probably hard for you guys to see at the back. Just putting our thumb on your leg and then pulling back towards you. So if you got just a couple minutes before you're about to hit the stage and you feel like, you know, kind of tense, you want to just limber up as much as you can. So you want to kind of just, you know, not too much, but just kind of get a little light stretch going. Don't want to feel any pain. Make sure you're breathing too. And then, like Taylor Swift said, shake it off. And that's the song we're going to learn today. And then the other hand. So, right thumb to right knee. Hands back. Again. Then another one's good, just like tense all the muscles in your hand, even your face, everywhere, your neck, back, tense everything up. And then let it go. Sometimes we just hold on to tension and we don't even know, and it kind of builds up over time. Especially before you go on stage, it's good just to tighten everything, let it relax. You're teaching your muscles how to relax again. So those are good. Also, these, kind of putting your elbow into your elbow and kind of pulling back towards you. You should kind of feel it in here. I can switch. And again, arms out. Feel like you're being pulled from your fingers to the other side of the room. And just really go for it. And then slowly, very controlled, you're gonna just slowly bring it down, but keep pulling. Feel like you're being pulled out. So energy is really going out. Should be able to feel it.
That's great.
All like up your arm. Up. And then when you can do kind of back at center again, I learned from a dancer, was to kind of switch. So if your hands are here, you're kind of both turning let's say your thumb up on your left hand and down on the opposite. So they're going opposite motion. Twist it that way, not the other way. And back again. And the other side. Breathing all through that. Shake it off. So that, sometimes I'll do, like different finger mobility. Like another one you can do is just kind of have your hand on your knee and pull back individually, starting with your index. Just a light stretch backwards. And then to your middle. Just lightly stretching. You don't want to overstretch. Kind of has the opposite effect, but just enough to limber up. And then to your other hand. And you don't really need your guitar for these. You could do this like on the way to a gig or in the subway or at Subway or while eating Subway. I'm not saying you should do any of that, but you don't really need your guitar for these. But yeah, kind of like some individual finger warm-ups. I'll just kind of get the fingers moving individually. It's like index, tap your middle, ring. So kind of, if this mic was a flute, kind of going individually. Individual finger dexterity is super important. And then with the guitar, if you guys have got your guitars, just a really quick warm-up. It's good. Starting with your index. You're just holding that, and then you're stretching all your other fingers out as much as you can. I'm going to switch to the middle. And ring. And the uncooperative pinky. You're just kind of going through individually, stretching out the other fingers. And then just kind of a nonsense warm-up that can be really helpful is kind of you're kind of going through each. So starting with the index, you're going through every kind of finger possibility you would have. So kind of easy with that one. But the next one, so keeping the one finger stationary, and then just kind of going through the other spaces of your fingers with that one. And the pinky. So yeah, that's good. Keep your hands nice and loose. Also Resciatos for the right hand. So just kind of starting with 1, 2, 3. And sometimes just to keep the tension out of your fingers, just kind of strum up and down, starting with your ring finger. And your middle, just play as quick as you can. Index, just get the blood flowing. And then go through each 1, 2, 3, A, M, I. can just get into a rhythm like that. So it's kind of a kick, 1, 2, 3, up, up, down. Kick, 1, 2, 3, up, up, down. That's the part from Journey of Love. Little Raschiato I do with triplicity. 1 and a 2. 1, 2, 3, up, up. And then kind of kicking with the strum. I'm just starting to get into a groove. Thinking about rhythm. Just isolating that. And then you can start to get into like scale warm-up stuff. But that's kind of like a good all-around like quick warm-up if you need to just like get ready for open mic or recording or closed mic or whatever the occasion may be. So yeah, just wanted to go over that. Had a question on the warm-up. So we can check that off the list. Tips for dealing with stage fright. Have a banana before you perform. I don't know why, but I think the potassium in it maybe just calms your nerves. But yeah, if you're nervous, have a banana. I do it like before every show. Just don't slip on the banana peel.
Yeah, you use it as a comedy prop as well.
I do. Everything can be a comedy prop.
They have natural occurring lithium in them as well.
Say what?
They have natural occurring lithium in them as well.
In batteries. Oh, bananas! I mean, okay. Right. Yes, so yeah, have a banana. Stage fright be gone, as far as I'm considered. No, that doesn't always do it. I think the biggest thing, touring with Michael Mannering last year, he taught me radical acceptance. So whatever you feel coming up, okay, I'm nervous, well, I'm not prepared, well, you know, whatever you feel, just totally accept it. And accept that your body is kind of going into a state of unknown, and just know you're gonna survive and you're not gonna die. And just remember, you know, the worst case scenario is not that bad. So yeah, you make a mistake, your ego's hurt, oh, so bad. But it's not that bad, you know. And you learn. When you make mistakes, you learn. So just be open for whatever happens. Expect that things might go wrong. You might have a technical issue, but just know you're gonna go into it with a Zen attitude and be calm. Whatever happens, you're like water, you know? Just like Bruce Lee said, you're just gonna flow through it and not let anything surprise you or startle you. Just kind of be, you know, overcome whatever comes up and just know you can handle it. I think having that kind of positive attitude going into a frightening, you know, terrifying scenario of bearing your soul in front of everybody, public speaking or whatever, you know, it's good to remind yourself, yeah, you can overcome it and not succumb to your nerves. So also remember the audience is on your side. This took me a long time to figure out, and you think like everybody's judging you, and they are probably, but also know that they're losers, like Greg Cox said. And, you know, yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, that was definitely a cockism. But, yeah, just know everybody's on your side, you know, and, yeah, you're not going to die. I mean, it's going to be a learning experience, and if you fumble through it, those are usually the times you learn the most. So just be open to it. If it's a character-building gig, as I like to call it, when stuff goes wrong and it's technical issues and you mess up and your big moment, you know, you learn the next time, you get better. The more you do it, and I think it really comes down to preparation, too, I think is just, yeah, make sure you're, like you did, you warmed up like we did, go through the song, make sure you're breathing, just make sure you're calm. And remember to breathe. You know, we're not playing a wind instrument, so we don't have to think, okay, before we play, exhale and play the notes. You know, with the guitar, it's easy for us to just kind of shallow breathe, and then that also kind of, you know, keeps the anxiety going. So you want to counter that by doing like a 1-to-2 ratio. So inhale, and exhale twice as long. So really try to focus on extending your exhale. I think will keep you more in a parasympathetic mode, and just chill, relax, whatever happens, it's cool. Experience either way. And also I'll try to play through, like if I'm playing a song, I'll kind of to the bar or every couple bars. I think it's good if you can train yourself to breathe while you play. You're going to stay much more relaxed, and you're not going to be, oh, here's that hard part coming up and seize up and everything tense. Remember to breathe. It's so important, but we don't have to think about it. So just remember, that is really good to lock in your breathing and tune it in synchronize it with your playing if you can. If you find you get tense or kind of mess up certain parts, if you're going into a hard part, just really try to breathe into it. Stay calm, and you'll be all right. And know that initially it won't go as planned, and a lot of the early times recording or performing or you're going to suck, but that's okay, because everyone does, and everybody gets nervous. So I think have compassion for yourself. Give yourself grace and know it's not easy, but you'll keep learning and improving the more you do it. One motto I had for myself early on, because my stage fright was so overwhelming and crippling, was just to throw myself into the fire, as I would say, and just embrace the fact that it's going to be difficult, but that's how you learn and grow. And the more you can put yourself in uncomfortable situations of being in front of people and exposing yourself to your fear, eventually that fear level goes down and you feel more comfortable and at ease. And it's not, it really, you kind of flip it from anxiety to calm, and you can just kind of stay in Zen mode. Yeah, that. Exactly. How many of you have recorded yourself? Okay. And how many of you have performed live? Yep. Okay. So, it's always a cringe fest when you record yourself, but it's always the most honest feedback you're ever going to get, because, either as you're kind of playing live or just recording, it's good for you, it's good for us to take the role of the audience in your guys' shoes, watching me right now, like watching Randy's video later and saying, wow, why does that say all those stupid things? It's kind of good feedback for you to look from another point of view when you're not on stage or recording, and put yourself in the listener's shoes and give yourself kind of, bless you, critical feedback and say, like, where could I grow? Okay, what went well? What could be better? It's always good to kind of do that, go through a checklist. I would get super early kind of like really critical on myself. I would have like a checklist. I would do a recording, and then I would say, okay, dynamics are good, tone, timing, and I would kind of go through all the different elements of music and say, okay, what was good, what could be better, and just try to pay attention to all those things the best you can, and just really be aware as the listening experience from the point of view when you're not playing, because it really helps you kind of go back to what you do with fresh eyes and to know where you need to work. So highly recommend recording yourself if you haven't. It can be really humbling and enlightening just to take a honest look where you're at, and just making sure you're not like tense and nervous, because that's going to translate to the audience. If you're like, oh my goodness, deer in the headlights, everybody's kind of nervous with you. But I think if you're just kind of real and okay, you're nervous, but you're going to get through it, then you won't freeze up. And also, it's good to be honest with the audience too. Like on the last US tour that I just did, I kind of started to admit to the audience every night that I was super nervous, like right around the time I was introducing myself. And, you know, I kind of told the joke, like, it's different when you're at home and nobody's around and you're playing with yourself. But it's different when there's people watching you, you know? You know, and it puts a different pressure on. So, watching your every move, you know? So, and it's not easy being a solo performer on stage, you know? At least when I'm with Triplicity and I make a mistake, I can look at Trevor or Andy and be like, dude. But you've got nobody on stage as a solo performer, you know? Like, what the heck? Donut? Donut, do you know? It's not, you're supposed to play. So yeah, so you have nowhere to hide, you know, you're totally exposed. It's it's really a big fear for a lot of people, and for me it still is. Every time I get super nervous, I gotta have a banana, I gotta chill, do my warm-ups, and know that I'm gonna survive and learn with each gig. So, and also, yeah, in kind of writing mode, you just want to free up your mind to allow inspiration to happen. I think when we're trying to write something, we're kind of forcing it. You got to just kind of tune your mind like we tune our guitar, and really just kind of be open to ideas and listen to what comes to you rather than try to make it happen, you know, the American way. I'm going to write this song, you know, if it's the last thing I do. No, you got to just, you know, open your mind and close your eyes and allow inspiration to happen. And things that get in the way sometimes, perfectionism, your ego, having a competitive mindset, looking at social media, comparing yourself to people, it's really not good. It's we all do it, and we do it kind of subconsciously, but know that, again, everybody else is a loser, and it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter at the end of the day. Everybody's doing their thing, and it's a self-expression, ultimately. Yeah, people can play great and well, and that's all cool, but you gotta do your thing, and it's gotta be meaningful to you. And if it's meaningful to you and you connect to it, it's probably gonna connect with other people. So just remember that. You know, that's, I remember early on, I really struggled with jealousy and seeing amazing guitar players. I'm like, wow, they're so good, I suck. And I would just like crush my own self-esteem and be like, wow, yeah, I am a loser, you know? And I would be so hard on myself and so negative, and it really gets you nowhere. It did allow me to really learn and to try to grow, and not, you know, it's also crippling if you're like, I am so great, because you're kind of blinded that way too. I think if you always wear the white belt, you know, like they say in karate or taekwondo, you're always learning, and there's always more to learn. You know, even an expert, you know, Tommy Emmanuel or, you know, Steve Vai or Joe Satriani, Greg Koch, these guys that are masters of one thing, you know, there's still so much you don't know, another style you haven't mastered. So just be humble and know that you can't know everything. You can be an expert on one thing like Jake White and totally know, you know, Michael Hedges. Not saying it's just one thing, but I mean, he also doesn't know the, you know, all the details in the life of Steve Jobs or something, right? There's like, and that's only two people in, you know, yeah, the knowledge is so deep. So yeah, just enjoy the journey. Just have fun and be a sponge, like you all are here. You know, just picking up, and yeah, keep your frequency open, and yeah, ultimately everyone's on their own path, and your job is just to be the best version of yourself as an artist. Not trying to be like anybody else. Let them inspire you, know that they've got their thing and their way of doing it, but nobody has your fingerprint at the end of the day, and nobody sounds like you. So remember that. And let's see, some other questions we had. Yeah, one app that's super helpful, if you guys ever have sound issues, this app called TE Tuner is really good. I think it's for Android and Apple or Mac or whatever it is. But it's really good. There's a sound analysis. So it's showing me it's 178. That's the dominant frequency right there. So if I have a feedback in my guitar, right, it's showing 195. So I might want to cut that frequency if that's going to be the one creating feedback at a show. It can be helpful to know what the natural frequency of your guitar is tuned to, because a lot of the time playing live, it's going to be that one that causes feedback. So that can be good to know, just to get this app, frequency analyzer, and kind of
What is that called again?
TE, like Tommy Emmanuel tuner. Tonal energy tuner, that's the one. It's got a metronome analysis. It's got like a singing wheel. Yeah. And sometimes for ideas, I'll even like, you can kind of make melodies and stuff with it. Yeah, very useful app. I can't remember if it's free or not, but it's a good one to have.
$6.
$6. Okay. Definitely not worth it. I take it back. Save your money. We are starving artists to begin with, right? No.
Can you explain one more time? So if you see it, like what frequencies and God force or where's feedback, how does that work?
Like with your guitar, what I was saying with that. Yeah, so knowing it, I guess it's better to kind of use a mic, but you're just trying to find the frequency, the dominant frequency of your guitar. So you hear what it's tuned to, and it helps kind of if you're plugged in and you can kind of hit gently like that, and you hear it better on a mic, but you'll hear like a whoa, whoa, or a certain tone. And if you can find that tone and be ready to kind of cut that frequency on an EQ, then you're going to have less problems live, usually most of the time. Every kind of system and room is different, so a problem frequency at 110 hertz one night could be 178 the next night. So you got to always be ready to adapt and be open to, okay, where's the problem going to be tonight? Have it ready. Okay, I'm just going to cut that frequency, and most of the time you're going to be good. So yeah, very useful app. And there's also the app that comes with the Tonewood app. So, and that one I think you can also use, it's like the Tone Ninja or something, to help eliminate feedback automatically. So I think that's probably the best use of AI technology, is to be able to cut problem frequencies when you're playing live. They should just stick to that market and stay out everywhere else, but that's just my opinion. Let's see, I had a question about traveling with guitars and stuff. I had really bad luck early on, had many guitars broken. It happens, and it's always terrifying going to the airlines and, flying with a different company, having a different person at the desk, and not knowing what's going to happen to your beloved axe. So I got a Calton case, which is like the same one Andy has over here, which is kind of custom fit to the guitar, and that's like the best insurance, is having a good flight case. Sometimes in a soft case you can try to bring it on the plane, but if there's no room, it's going to have to go underneath and will likely be crushed. So I've had that happen before. So I definitely recommend a good case, and trying to gate check the guitar if you can, or sky check it's called. So you kind of bring it on before you board, and it goes in a different compartment than all of the checked luggage. So it's usually safe and doesn't cost you as well to bring your guitar and travel that way. And then I'll take, like with my crazy pedal board, I would take the most important ones, because for one, you don't even know if your bags are going to show up, right? So I take the most important pedals on my pedal board, I take with me in my carry-on backpack, just in case it doesn't show up, I still have what I need to play the gig. So I make sure I got the most important thing with my Thunderbolt cable. At least I can pull off the show if, whatever happens. So yeah, it's good. You got to think of this stuff nowadays. The airline, unfortunately, the companies are kind of getting worse, and yeah, at the expense of all this stuff you work so hard to pay for and travel with. If you're traveling with all this stuff, but if not, then that doesn't apply to you. But it's also good to have TSA locks on your suitcase, because sometimes they'll go through your stuff. I had a situation where the case was completely untouched, and they broke the guitar inside. So I think they took it out and mishandled it, or played baseball with it or something. I don't want to know. But the guitar was broken and the case was fine. So it's also good if you have the locks. I've got a kind of a beefy suitcase with TSA locks, so if they need to go in, then they have the locks, but then you have less chance of your stuff being stolen. So yeah, it's good if you have the locks on it, then consider yourself lucky. Sorry, it was all leading to that.
Calum would be doing a session on it.
So, another question with Nick, who's probably sleeping in, right? Nick Heps, are you here?
He's not.
Okay, so I'm going to ignore his questions.
Must be present to win.
Yeah, pretty much.
Probably good questions.
But I'm sure many of you have questions that you might have that I would be happy to address. So feel free to come forth. Yes.
So maybe outside of the challenges with airlines, could you talk a little bit more about just life as a touring solo musician?
Yeah, everybody thinks it's so great.
Is there hope for Fingerstyle? Were you
Oof.
nervous on the American tour because you were surprised at the level of success, or why were you nervous?
Level of success of the shows?
Australia and America, you had some big audiences. Seems like there's hope for Fingerstyle when I was seeing some.
Yeah, I mean, that's what kept me going since day one, was believing that, yeah, we gotta make fingerstyle great again. Right? Stephen Bennett, make the harp guitar great again. Yeah, I guess there's always that delusional belief, like, yeah, that, gotta bring this, yeah, it's the reason I believe in it, and bring it forth, and have been lucky. Yeah, not many tours in the past that have not been so great. But again, like I mentioned, every gig you're going to learn something, and it's kind of a character building experience, whether for better or for worse. So always something good can come out of it if you look at it that way. But yeah, fortunately on the recent tours in Australia and the States had really good audiences, and luckily matched up with a promoter who knew what he was doing, advertising all through Facebook, all Facebook ads, and kind of found the magic formula for that. So yeah, so you got to just know, yeah, it's just going to keep getting better, and the more you do it, the more you learn, the better you get, and and you never know who's in the audience watching. So even if there's 2 or 3 people that show up to your show, give them your best. Just like if you go to a movie and you pay whatever admission ticket for that movie, if it's only you in the theater, that movie's not going to give you a less quality experience because you're the only one in the theater. It's still going to give you the full grand production if it's full or not. So you got to just know, play for everybody the best that you can, and yeah, and you never know who's watching. There was a gig in California that had like 6 people come out in the middle of the NAMM show, which is just chaos. And from that, Trevor Gordon Hall and I actually were booked for a tour in China from that. 6 people watching. We're like, wow, already we're like deflated before the show, like, man, totally sucks, we suck. And then we got a tour out of it. So you never know what can happen.
How do the audiences respond to your vocals compared to your fingerstyle? Is it good to mix those two things? Were you getting good response to your vocals?
I think the same response that people have to my puns, which is like, oh, kind of nauseous, like, oh boy. No, no, I've been fortunate to have a good positive response from the vocals, and yeah, people that want to hear more of that. And the next album is going to be fingerstyle and vocals. So yeah, good to see your question.
With traveling, do you have to worry, I guess, figure out humidity based on where you're going, and how do you deal with that?
Yeah. Wish I knew going to Japan recently was going to be so humid and so hot, because I definitely, I packed for the rainy season, but there was no rain at all when I was there, and it was brutally hot, sweating all the time. And luckily I've got a humidifier in my guitar case that kind of sits over top. There's a few different ones. There's one you can get to go inside and kind of near the neck, but it's a Bovita humidifier. So it kind of keeps your guitar at a relative humidity. I think mine's at 45 or 50. I have to double check, but if there's too much humidity, it'll absorb it, and if there's not enough, it will give, humidity. So it'll kind of keep it at a constant relative humidity. So I try to always keep it in the case, keep it closed. So that's kind of like control no matter what's outside. At least I know the environment inside is going to be, constant somewhat. So with that, I don't have to worry. The humidifiers?
Bovita?
B-O-V-E-D-A. Bovita. I think Diodario also carries them. Yeah, it's not to be confused with Velveeta cheese. Yeah, definitely don't put that in your guitar case.
Or your body.
Yeah, or anything.
And related to that, like when you're like right before you perform, like if you go to a space with different humidity, like how do you make sure your guitar doesn't like?
Yes, also a good question. Yeah, so kind of before a gig, from sound check or even before if I can, I'll kind of leave my guitar on the case or just out in the open where it can start to kind of acclimatize, I guess, or like get used to the humidity in the room. So at least for the show, it's going to be, kind of somewhat settled in a matter of time. But yeah, that is one thing to think about too, is you want to let it be in the environment where you're going to be playing so it can kind of adjust and level out, and then put it in the case after the show. So, yes, good question. Yeah.
Just curious about the wood in your guitar. That's mahogany on the back and sides, right?
Yeah, it's cedar top and monogamy on the back and sides. You got it.
So why did you choose mahogany? I mean, a lot of people go with the rosewood or, Madagascar rosewood or blackwood or something like that. Was it a tonal issue or?
I think I had, at the time, I was playing a guitar I got from Don Ross. It was a Loudon cedar and mahogany, and I loved the sound of that. And so when I had the opportunity to work with Mario Beauregard, who built this guitar, I told him, hey, I love this guitar. Can you make something like that? And he's like, oh, I don't build cedar mahogany guitars. Mario, the way he is. And so at first he kind of rejected the idea, and then he was like, I'll give it a shot. And after he built the guitar, he was like, I have to say, I'm really glad you asked for cedar and mahogany, because I used to love it, and then I had some really bad experiences with it, and I found my love for it again from you insisting that you wanted your guitar this way. So yeah,
I think Tommy
worked out.
Emmanuel's guitars are all mahogany too, back and sides. So
That's a good choice. There's so many options, but yeah, I really love that combination. And it's good to try as many different guitars as you can to kind of know the different characteristics and what you like, what responds to you and what you're doing. So, yeah.
This is a really interesting question because I don't know if there is really a right answer, but how did you settle on Mario as your luthier, or the one to make this guitar? There's so many other luthiers out there and all that other stuff, so what was going on in your head? Was it just you ran into him, or just what happened?
I was recording an album at Antoine's place, and I think I was recording that cedar mahogany Loudon I was just talking about, and it wasn't right for the song. It wasn't quite the right fit, and there was a lot of mid-range, and he was like, hey, try this guitar. And I was like, holy cow, that is the closest thing I've ever had to a religious experience. I was playing his guitar, and I was like, wow, this is incredible, and he's like, oh yeah, Mario lives, 20 minutes away, can introduce you and whatever. So that was definitely a connection from Antoine that came to be, and built one, and it kind of cracked the day that I got it. It's really not good wood. But yeah, this is the second one I've had for 4 or 5 years, and he's built a baritone that he's kind of rebuilding again. And yeah, does really nice work, and really beautiful archtop guitars too. So yeah.
Why
This?
The baritone.
The baritone. It was the first time he's ever built a baritone. Again, I requested, hey, can you build a baritone? He was like, I don't build baritone guitars. And later was like, yeah, okay, maybe I'll try it. So the first one, it's had some issues, intonation, and yeah, I really wrestled with that in the studio. There were like all these different frequencies I was getting and different buzzes on the guitar, and just when I would bring it to my local guitar luthier and we'd fix it, it would be like whack-a-mole, and another problem would show up and another frequency, and have to bring it back, and it was just like constant problems with it while I was recording with it. So that was on the Phoenix Rising album, but yeah, I finally got through it, and I was like, man, we gotta make some tweaks on the next one. So yeah, so that is in the works.
What's the name of the guitar brand and the luthier?
Mario Beauregard. Yeah, he's a builder just north of Montreal, Quebec. And it can be good if you have a luthier near you, if you can kind of make a connection together and kind of talk about what you like and what you want, then I think it helps to kind of have that relationship and go back and forth, and that's it's been very helpful. And yeah, I'll say no more on that because it could go a long story with Mario. It was really rough in the beginning. Actually, he really was like, yeah, it was kind of not cool in the beginning, and I had to call him out, and it was weird there for a while. But now it's all good. Just had to be honest with him, and now it's, yeah, everything's cool. But anyways, that was all thanks to Antoine for the Mario Beauregard connection. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen.
Calum, can you talk about how you connect the tone wood through your system? Your system's like so complicated. How does it
Yeah, so tone amp we got, which is the owners are the reason why there's all the donuts here. So yeah, thanks to them for that and this cool creation. So I've got two pickups on my guitar, a transducer and a magnetic. So it's the one that you see here is going from my pickup to the tone wood amp, going through this little speaker, and then through a magnetic brace, it is using the back of the guitar like an amplifier for the reverb to come through. So I find a magnetic pickup is best for this because you can have the most gain without the risk of feedback. If I were to put it into my transducer pickup right now, it's probably going to feedback. Yep, what did I say? Yeah. So there you go. Yeah,
Do you have a
magnetic.
microphone there too?
No, the transducer is just the contact pickups, but it is sensitive like it is a microphone, but you don't have the issues of feedback so much by having a mic, so it's kind of good.
So do
That way you can still pick up the percussion and all that.
Which transducer?
Made by Trans Audio in California. It's the M model. But yeah, that one's kind of like a step above K&K, I would say. Yeah, really good.
So you set
Really
the
good
tone
product.
wood for the sound you want to go through your system, and then
Mhm.
you tweak your system to add to whatever you're getting from the tone wood.
Well, it's kind of straight from the pickup to this, so you got to modify everything within the app and within the little screen here. So it's kind of a little bit limiting that way. But there's going to be a workshop on the Tonewood app here this afternoon, so stay tuned for that.
When
Yeah.
you're playing a show, are you using the Tonewood amp for processing, or are you sending both of your outputs to the rig?
Absolutely not. No, it's kind of two different systems. When I'm playing live, I'm going through that universal audio preamp into main stage on my computer with all the plugins and effects. You can use it live, like there's also an output to be able to go to the PA. It does work. And yeah, I've used it for gigs, even electric guitar gigs where I've kind of plugged into this and used that as like a full pedal board, and it kind of works. Works really well, actually. But Yeah, I don't use it so much live. Like sometimes I'll unplug for a song and use that. But actually the best sound that I ever got was during COVID when I was home and had the tone wood amp going. So I had the, reverb like this. And then I played in front of a mic. So I had a microphone. So you can hear it through there a little bit. And then I also had the output going to my pedal board, going through a really bad home computer gaming speaker system that I found on the side of the road. Great, so I had the sound of the tone wood amp, the sound of the mic, so it's getting really kind of warm tone, but also the pickups as well, so it's combining many sources, and I got a really killer tone from that. I would love to replicate live, but I think I've got to kind of remodify my rig to be able to do that. But maybe the next time you guys see me, I will have that maybe as my main kind of thing, if I can find a way to do it without bringing so much gear around. So, but yeah, this kind of keeps it easy that you don't have to use a pedal board at all. You can just plug right into that, have reverb and some other cool effects. And yeah, don't have to plug in, worry about power so much and all that. So, any other questions at all? So we've come to wrap up. Yes.
What happens if your strings break on stage?
You just got to tell bad jokes and kind of keep the show going. Try not to focus on any issues, that happen and freak out. Just try to stay calm and have a good joke ready or something can be a good distraction from it. It's always terrifying, but it happens. So just always carry one with you too. Make sure to have one with you on stage. I always keep a spare pack just in case you got to change it, and just find a good story, good joke or something to kind of say, oh yeah, before I played guitar, I worked at McDonald's and whatever. Yeah, that's a true story actually I did before guitar. Yeah, speaking of story, before guitar I worked my first job at McDonald's to save up for a BMX bike. And I finally did it, and I got enough money for it, and drove up to the city with my parents and paid for the bike in cash, quit my job. And my dad said, hey, we should take the bike out to the country and find some trails. And I was like, yeah, let's go. So I packed the RV, and we drove 3-4 hours into the mountains, and showed up at this campsite. My dad's like, hey, why don't you go around to the the bike carrier on the back and grab the bike? And I'm like, yeah, sure, sounds good, let's go. So I went around to the back, and the bike was gone. So I didn't even get to ride it. Yeah. So after that, I thought, I'm going to play the guitar. True story.
So, back to the topic of stage fright.
Mhm.
Say you do all the relaxation techniques. You're in the middle of your song, and you start tensing up, and you start to get nervous. Are there any mind tricks or anything that you use to try and get yourself more relaxed again while you're playing?
It's good to be aware of it and to know what caused it, what thought. Was it something in the song? Was it lack of preparation? Was it, what caused that to happen? I think that's always good to think about as well. But breathe. That's definitely one way to do it. It's, it works for Raji, I guess. I think. I think just come back to your breath. If you just come back to, I think if you come back to just thinking about your breath again and just kind of, extending your exhale, that definitely helps. And then just something to note later, why did that come up? What did that reveal? Why did I tense up? And, hopefully the next time it'll smooth it out. So it's good. It's good if you're aware of that in that point and analyze it and see what happened that's
I've been having
room for
frustrating
growth.
moments on stage where like I practice something, I can play it, it's easy, and then when I get up there, I can't play it.
Yeah, story of my life, brother.
Welcome
Yeah.
to the club.
Totally.
Club.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah, that red light fever is real. But again, the more you do it, the more you can expose yourself to that, fear, and just do it time and time and time again. It'll just eventually be less and less and less. So it's just a matter of exposure therapy, really, and doing that thing you fear most to eventually.
Pain phase.
What's that?
Is there is there a pain phase? I've heard people say like when they form a band, they go up on stage and they say, you just have to go up and suck until you stop sucking.
That's definitely another way to think of it.
It's actually easier with the band because it's sort of this diffused
Shared
responsibility and accountability.
Mhm.
So if you mess up a little bit, it's not really, most of the people may not even notice it, and you've got that sort of anonymity, but when it's just you, that's a big...
That is crushing to one's own soul. So yeah, take it easy on yourself.
Exactly. What? I don't know what these guys are doing.
Yeah, exactly. You can cover up with a band. But yeah, it is, you just gotta know, again, the first ones are not gonna be good, and it's gonna be a learning experience, so record it, look back at yourself, archive, and just try to make each time you play it, each gig, a little bit better, than you were before. And that improvement, you don't see it so much gig to gig, but over time, like when it's a year between these Musicarium classes, and then I hear, somebody play again, it's like, holy cow, wow, you've really improved, or wow, you still suck, I'm kidding, I'm totally kidding.
With those kinds of people, if you don't see them improving, what do you think is a common reason why they haven't gotten better over the years?
True. Wow, good question. I guess maybe, not, I don't know, everybody's purpose is different, and I don't want to, not everybody wants to just, do this. Some people just want to play for the therapeutic aspect after a long day and just unwind. So, I can't even, I'm just speaking to those of you, because I know there's a lot of you who perform and record and play live, so I'm kind of speaking to that. But yeah, ultimately, when it just comes to you and your guitar, it is, it's just like therapy. So yeah, you don't really have to improve or be better. It's really a personal thing if you want to or not. So can't speak for anyone. And if they're happy just where they're at, man, that's cool. If you just play and you still make the same mistakes and whatever, that's fine. Mistakes are a part of life, and not everybody wants to excel to be the best. It's like, yeah.
I just
It's,
have a tune called The Happy Couple, and he said it was for him and his guitar.
yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
I think every day's different for me. I mean, some days I'm on top of it and I play through these songs really well. I'm like, wow, that was pretty good, And then the next day, it's like that confidence isn't there. I don't know why. I don't know if it's sleep cycle or what, but I'll be in the middle and just blank out on what's coming next. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Every day's a new day. You have that ability, but it's not always there for you.
Every day is a winding road. Get a little bit closer. Yeah, I don't know where that came from. But yeah, every gig, every day is different. And sometimes we're not going to sleep great, and that's going to affect things. You're going to be stressed out about something and bring that to the stage. And so again, radical acceptance. Wherever you're at in your brain, whatever you're nervous about, just accept it and know it's going to be different every time. And even though if you had a really bad night, the next one's probably going to be better or your best show yet. You never know. So just, kind of take it as it comes and accept it and make peace with it, make peace with yourself, and just rock and roll. Whatever happens, you're going to be all right. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess mine's a little bit related to like the music business aspect of it. So
Mhm.
For instance, like, I just released an EP, and then before, I just released a couple singles leading up to that, and I think it did better than I thought it was going to do, and I got it out to, like, my local community, like, my students were listening to it, my family and friends were listening to it, and reached a little bit into my gig area. But, like, what would you say, so now that I have this EP, I'm kind of, like, ready to kind of get it to go out more, what would you say, like, the first good step would be to go beyond kind of that, like, community area and kind of go to the next step? Like, what would be some good first steps to do to get your music out there? I know this is not related to what we're talking about.
You mean just to get more exposure?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a...
I know there's a lot you can do, but I just wonder, like, maybe what are the first couple of good steps to take?
Definitely OnlyFans is the way to go. Yeah. That's really my best recommendation, is to not do that, actually. Yeah, it's always changing, and it's, you invest totally in, put everything on MySpace and promote that, and then MySpace is gone, and, that's not relevant anymore. So it's this ever-changing landscape online that you got to kind of, be up with the times, and yeah, it's really tricky. I wish I had a straightforward answer for you, and I would say, denial and error is the best way to go about it. Just, put some money into Instagram ads and see what happens. Try a few different ads, A and B. Try Facebook ads, see what happens with that. Google ads. Try, little different experiments here and there and see what works. See if you can align with somebody who has maybe a following in a certain way. Like, I was fortunate with Candy Rat, or Andy Rat, as it should be called, that I had some kind of trickle-down success from his success. And so having some of my music featured on that channel allowed, a lot of people around the world to see my music. And I was very lucky, with that timing and opportunities. And so it is kind of an alignment with that too. And I think being open, doing different interviews or connecting with people online, maybe a shared kind of thing, you'll cross-promote, you help them out and they help you out kind of thing. Aligning with different companies like Tonewood Amp, and, that can be good if they, feature your video or your album or EP or something. So align with different companies. But yeah, I really suck at that, so I'm not the best person to ask. For me, I just love to compose. I would love to spend all my time doing that. But when it comes to the getting your music out there part, I have a lot to learn. So probably some other cats here could answer your question better. But yeah, I would say just experiment, be open, and try to annoy as many people as you can to help spread the word. I used to direct message people and be like, hey, check out my new video, and yeah, just try everything, see what works, and yeah, wish you luck.
Didn't you get your parents to go to your YouTube channel a whole lot of times to beef up your numbers?
Yeah, it was my mom, actually, the reason why I have so many views on all my videos. Magic Malik, I think you had a question like 27 minutes ago.
Yeah, I was thinking about there might be such an opportunity in the syncing up your breathing, your compositions, because if let me go later. Because if you happen to be performing and then you get that wave of nervousness, then if you also practice your pieces with a certain breathing rhythm that's connected to the piece, then you kind of give yourself a buffer from some of that nervousness. If your nervous system is being regulated by that steady breathing and hypnotized by that rhythm of the music as well, that's such an interesting possibility.
Yeah. We build it into the mental map of the song in your head.
Yeah.
Is your breathing.
So that's cool. I'm going to start doing that. Thanks, Calum.
So if you're into bluegrass, you probably pass out.
That's the risk.
That's how you
gotta watch the rate, the breathing rate.
Your exhalation can probably last about 12 bars or something.
Sweet. Well, good class, good conversation, you guys. And if you have any other questions, too, hit me up. Yeah. Sweet. Hand it over to Antoine.